And we are now going to go over local user enumeration. For domain user enumeration, we are going to go over another section, and it's going to be used in Power View. But for this local user enumeration, we are just going to be using none. We're not going to use any script for PowerShell or anything like that, like Power View. It's just going to be commands that you can run in a PowerShell or even in the command prompt. So let's go ahead and start. The first command that I like to do is basically the KU username, like who are you, right? So we are going to do echo, and we are going to get the username variable, and then we are going to say who am I. And when you do that, it's going to tell you that you are the username student1. You can also run a command in PowerShell. So this is, I want to do either command prompt or PowerShell, because even with PowerShell, right, if you get a PowerShell, if you're able to open PowerShell from a reverse shell, you can do all of the commands that I'm going to run in from the command prompt. You can also do it. You can also do it from the PowerShell. But some of these PowerShell commands you won't be able to do it from the command prompt. So that's why I want to have these two windows open. As you can see, you can get the environment variable for the username, and you can see that the current username is student1. And then if we want to look more into it, you can just say who am I prev, and who am I prev. You can also run this from, because like I said before, I believe all the commands that you can run from the command line, you can run it from the PowerShell. There we go. So who am I prev, or the privilege? This one will give you all the privilege that you have access to. As you can see, we only have access to the SE assigned primary token privilege. We have SE change notify privilege and SE increase working set privilege. On the section when we talk about the local privilege escalation, we are going to go over a privilege escalation that we can do whenever we have the SE impersonate, which is really easy to do. So we can get admin access, local admin access to it. So that's why you always want to do a who am I prev to see if we have that SE impersonate on your privilege. As you can see, we do not have it over here. Another one is to take a look at the groups that your current user, in this case student1, have access to. And what you can do for that one is who am I groups, and this one is a command prompt command, and you can just you can just run it from the command prompt as well. And if you can run it on the command prompt, you are going to be able to run it from the PowerShell. And as you can see, the current user student1 over here, we did a who am I groups. Who do we belong to? We belong to the everyone, the users, the remote desktop users. This is the built-in, it's local. So all these groups are going to be local. Okay. In the section where I go over domain enumeration, we are going to be looking at enumerating the domain groups and the domain username as well. This is just local to this computer only. Okay. And then if you want to list all the users, let's go ahead and clear this out. You can just do a net user. And as you can see right now, we have the administrator, default account, and the guest account. Let's see what we have from over here. Net user. You can see that we have the same, the administrator, the default account, and a guest account on this local machine. And another command that you can run is the who. You can do the who am I all, and this one will list all the users. So the who am I all will list all the users, even the domain users are or that have authenticated to these computers, and it will also list the the NT authority users in here, or services in here. You can see that the pest testing RDP group, which is basically a group. You can see right here, which if you look into the type, you can see that this one is a well-known group. This one is a group. You can take a look at it. It is a domain group. and all the good stuff in here. You can also run that from the PowerShell command, who am I, if I know how to spell who am I, all, and that will show you everything in there. And it also gives you the SID, because sometimes it is good to know what the SID of the current user. And then we have a couple commands that we can run, that we can only run it from PowerShell, which is the get local user. And this one, you don't need to import any script like PowerView. This just runs, it is built in into PowerShell, and you cannot run this. Let's see, you cannot do this from the command prompt, because this is only PowerShell. There we go. You can see that the get local user is not recognized by the command prompt. So this is only for PowerShell only. So if you get a PowerShell reverse shell, you can always look the get local user, and you can pull the name, the enable, and the last log on. So you can see in here we pull out the name, administrator default account guess, see if it is enabled, true, meaning that the administrator it is enabled. The default account is false, which is disabled, and the guest account is false. And the last time this administrator logged into this server was on 39/20/21 at 11 a.m. right? And also you can do a get child, not that, you can do a get child user force and select the user. And what this will do is it will go into the C drive into the users, and we will select the name of each folder in there. And you can see that we have a administrator, we have an administrator pentest, and which means that we also have a domain administrator that had logged in into this computer. We have Rabbit Cuckoo student, student 1, student 2, and student 5, desktop.ini, public, default user, and default, and also all users. And this command also will only run with PowerShell. It will not run in the command prompt. I just want to show you both commands that you can use either on PowerShell or the command prompt. Like I said before, just in case you only got a PowerShell, just in case you only got a command prompt reverse shell. Another one that you could do to list all the logon requirements, and this one is usable to for brute forcing, which is net account. And net accounts, as you can see it in here, it will give you the minimum password age in days. It is 1. It is set to 1. The maximum password age in days, which is 42. So the minimum password length, which is 7. So you need to have at least 7 digits whenever you create a password. The length of password history maintained is 24. So it's going to say 24 of your passwords. So you need to come up with 24 different passwords before you can use you have to use 24 different passwords before you can use that first password that you ever set up. The lockout threshold, there is never, so you can do brute force, meaning that it doesn't lock your account. So therefore you can easily do brute forcing on any of the accounts. The lockout duration times 30 minutes, lockout observation window 30 minutes. But since we don't have any lockout threshold, we can just do brute forcing. The computer role, it is a server, and you can also, like I said, you can do this from the you can do this from PowerShell. So if any let's tell you that any command that you can do from the command prompt, you can do it from PowerShell. Okay, I just want to keep saying that so you guys can remember that. If you want to get more details like the about a specific user, like the like the administrator, what you could do is net user administrator, and you can get more information about the administrator. And in here, you will see that the username is administrator, doesn't have any full name. The comment is it is the built-in account for the administrator of the computer domain. You can see it is active. It never expires. The last time the password was set, the last time the password changeable. When the password expires, never expires. user may change password. Yes, he's allowed to change the password. So if we somehow have access to change the password for another user, we are going to be able to change the password for the administrator. And logon script, there's no logon script. Username profile, nothing. Username profile, nothing in the home directory. The last time the user logged on onto the server, you can see it over here. Logon hours, all hours. So we are able to log in into this computer at all hours. There is no restriction. And like I said before, any command that you can do from the command prompt, you can also do it from PowerShell, and it will give you the same results. And that's how it is. And also, if you just want to get the more information about the current user that you are logged in as, you can just do a net user. I guess it doesn't work on. I guess that variable didn't pull up. That's fine. Let's go ahead and move on then. So if you want to list, let's say, let's go ahead and list of the local group. You can do it by doing a net local group, and you can see all the groups that are in this local computer. You can also do it from the command prompt. Nope, it is net local group. There we go, the same information. And if you want to, if you only have a PowerShell, if you want to run this PowerShell, you can just do a get local group, and you just want to get the name, you can do that. And if you just want to get everything, you can just delete everything, and this one will give you the get local group will give you the name and also the description. But if you don't want to get the description, you can just do a get dash local group, and you just want to get the column of the name, which is this column, and we remove the description. All right. Another one, if you want to look at the groups for a specific user, you can just run the get local group administrator. So we are looking at the administrators, and this one will tell you who belongs into this group. So you can see right now that the administrator username belongs to the administrators group. The domain admins belong to the administrator group in this computer or in this server. Also, the student number 5 belongs to the administrator group, and good stuff. And also, if you can also run this from the PowerShell. Oops. Net local group administrators, and this one will pull the same information that we gather from the command prompt. But you know, if you want to gather a better look, right? If you just want to gather the local group member for each group, you can just run the get local group member, and we are going to pull the group members for the group administrators, and we just want to pull the name and the principal source. Press enter, and you can see that this will tell you where it is coming from. As you can see that in the administrator groups, we have domain admins, which is coming from Active Directory. We also have student 5, which also comes from Active Directory, and then we have the administrator, which comes from the local server, right? And if you just want to get the get local group member, and we're just going to put administrator in here, this one will tell you the object class, the name, and the principal source. The object class sometimes is good to know, because you want to know if it is a group or if it is a user. As you can see over here for the domain admins, you can see that this one is a group, and then the other ones are users. But this one is an Active Directory user, and this one is a local user. Okay, and I believe this is set for the user enumeration. So this is really good to do. Like I have said before, I always start by doing local enumeration, then I move into sometimes I like to, the first step that I always do is local enumeration. Then I either do the domain enumeration, so like domain, username, groups, group policy, and all that good stuff, and then I move into the trying to get the privilege escalation from the local, or I like to do either local enumeration, domain enumeration, privilege escalation for local, or I like to do local enumeration, privilege escalation local, and then domain enumeration. So it depends on how my mood is going, right? If it is taking me, if I don't find a lot of good stuff with the local enumeration, I just move into the domain enumeration, and then I do the privilege escalation for the local user. Sometimes I even do privilege escalation just right away, and then I do local enumeration and domain enumeration. So it depends how I feel, right? But it is always good to do enumeration. So I often just do local enumeration, domain enumeration, and then I just do local privilege escalation, and then I move into domain privilege escalation. So that's how I like to do it. It depends on basically on my mood, but that's how I like to do it.